Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Randoms, and today I'm gonna do something that I've never done before, and I will start one of 3 long series of commentary. None that I'm not new to, but today I'm gonna do it over a good kind of game that I like, and that game's called Smite. And today, since it's a first video for it, I'm gonna talk a little bit about Smite. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about 2 things about it. Number 1, I'm going to talk about it from a new player's point of view, and then I'm going to talk about it community-wise. Now, Smite, for people who don't know, is a multiplayer online battle arena. It is exactly, if you had to compare it to something, like certain MOBAs, like League of Legends and Dota, and the difference between those that Smite has in its originality is that, for example, with games like League of Legends, for example, League of Legends has champions, and it's from an isometric top-down view. And the thing with Smite is that it's themed for the mythology that surrounds gods. Not just any kind of gods, like not just one pantheon of gods, but all gods. Basically, everything from the Catholic faith that we have yet to see, to things like Greeks, and Romans, and pagans, and Chinese, and even the Egyptians. They cater to this. And it's this idea and this concept that makes Smite fun and interesting, because it's different. But at the same time of it being fun and interesting and different, it still has its cutbacks. You see, the one major difference, other than how this game is themed, is how the game is played. And you can notice here, if you're a long-time player of League of Legends, the greatest difference in this game, and that's that it's from a third-person view. Which means anything behind you, you can't see unless you turn around and look at it. Which brings in the example of a technique that a lot of people don't really think about, which is using your minimap. And it's that aspect of Smite itself that makes the game so interesting and so fun to play. Because there's a certain rush that you get not knowing whether or not you're safe. And it's the same kind of rush that you get knowing that you're about to back attack somebody who does not see you coming. And in this match, you can see several times where there's a person who's trying to back attack me, who either gets the kill because I can't see them, or they can't get the kill because I see them coming, or that I know they're going to be there, and they still die anyways. But for players who have never played Smite, people who have never really gotten the chance to ever get it, it's a good game to play, but at the same time that it's good, it's bad. Now, that's the one thing that a lot of people don't like about Smite, from a new player's perspective, of how horrible the game can be at times. And it's not horrible in the sense of gameplay. It's actually ran on a very sensible engine that offers quality gameplay and good graphics, but at the same time, is not, it doesn't make up for how it is. And what I mean by how it is when I say Smite can be horrible sometimes, even though the game is gloriously beautiful and is real good, the community of the game, from both, there's a kill I was talking about that I was gonna get. But, the community in Smite is, bad. And I don't mean it's full of bad players. When I say it's bad, I mean the players, basically people who play the game just to be relevant. Those people. The people who don't really care about playing the game, they just want to play it. Example, a basic mindset of these kind of people is that, they'll try and explain themselves of the reason why they don't do something, as they just want to have fun. And those people who just want to have fun at the same time are very, very bad at the game they're playing. And when they say they want to have fun, what they're really trying to say is that they don't really care. about the game. The only thing they really care about is the fact that they're making fun of people. I can't really think of a good word to really express what I'm trying to say in like one word, but if I had to, what I'm trying to say is that the community of players in Smite are ill-mannered. They act like children. And the reason that they act like children is because they're just playing the game just to play the game. They don't really care. And there's actually a few of them in this game that I'm playing right now. I believe by the time that the game is over, you'll figure out which ones they are, if you're watching the chat there, because in that time that I was recording, I was having a very long conversation with them. Basically, the whole crust of that conversation was that they were being assholes, being trolls, and they were trying to make themselves sound like tough guys. While they were doing all that, we're trying to be, internet tough guys, the match was going back and forth, and at the beginning here, we're actually losing because of it. But I almost lost my train of thought. But, what I'm basically trying to say is, when you're a new player, and you're just getting a feel for Smite, when you start playing, you're gonna be challenged with playing with three kinds of Smite players. You have the good kind of players, people who are on, like, the left side of the spectrum of skill. You know, they're good at playing the game, they know what they're doing, they want to be there and have a good time, and they don't enjoy losing, so they try and do everything they can so that you don't lose. And then you're going to play with other people who are, like, in the middle of it. You know, people who, at the same time, want to play the game for fun and be casual about it, but at the same time, understand that they are a part of a team, and because they're a part of that team, they cannot act like selfish jerks. They cannot do that. It's because of these people that act like selfish jerks that makes it incredibly painful to deal with them. And then you're gonna have, though, basically, the selfish jerks that I was just talking about. And the problem with these jerks is that these are people who just act so immaturely that they really don't have an excuse for what they do. And there's gonna be plenty of them when you first start out. Because in Smite, people judge you by how you play, basically what you say to them, and overall, they also act as if everything has to be one big joke. Just one big thing for them to make insults about.
You have slain an enemy. You will know when. The enemy is upon us. I will protect you.
Oh man, this is that one woman I was trying to get her and she kept running from me. But like I was saying, to really accentuate my point is when you start playing Smite, you're probably going to have to feel like you need to be humble. Because that's a very serious thing. Because for people when they first start out, because they're so low level and people are going to be insulting them constantly and making up excuses just to rag on them, it's going to feel like almost you get no respect. And I know I did when I first started playing. Because people were just telling me, oh, you suck, you're a noob, you don't need to be playing this game, you need to go back to everywhere you came from, blah 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 blah. And after a while I was just like, dude, get the fuck off it. I don't care, I just started. Leave me the fuck alone. And at the time, I didn't know why they were doing it, but as I got better skilled at the game, and I started learning things, in the sense that I could become better at what I was doing, I started to see that what they were trying to get at was that they were afraid of people who were bad players playing the game. Basically, what they were angry about was that they expected something Very simple. Very, very simple. And the simple thing that they hated and didn't want to see happen was that, they didn't want to see somebody who started out playing be a horrible player and just be very crappy at what they do. They didn't want that. And because of that kind of thinking, I started to understand a little bit more as I started to understand the community itself. But after getting to rank level 30, which is the highest rank we can go to for now, in this open/closed beta, they called it. With all of the stuff that you have to put up with, the greatestly annoying thing that I have to deal with from time to time is not people's arrogance and egos,
An ally has been slain.
but how childish they can act at times. Because now that you're like rank 30, when you're at the top rank, people will start talking about elo. Now, I don't really care to know what elo is supposed to mean in terms of an insult. And there's that thing that I was talking about with, where he was trying to fight me and then AO came over. But, basically, what they think elo is in terms of an actual stat, is it's supposed to be this thing that shows how skilled you are within the people that you're playing with in that round match. It's supposed to be a thing that explains, like, this guy's on the top of the list, so he has the top he has a top elo, or whatever the fuck. And so they use that and a lot of other stuff as an excuse to justify their actions and their ways of being.
An enemy has been slain.
And another thing about the community, when it gets to the point where everybody's trying to yell and insult at everybody, sometimes it's fun to do, because shit-talking is part of the game. You can't resist but help about shit-talking. It happens. You know, it's like you're on the lane, you're holding it by yourself, 3 people come along, you kill them all, and you're like, I pooped on you. Deal with it. But eventually, when your own team is trying to basically see who has the bigger E-beam, it stops being fun. There's not really much you can really do about it when it starts getting to that point of not being fun. Because it's only getting there because everybody is so riled up in the conversation about who's better and who's not, that it just goes there. And you feel as if, why are we even talking about this? This is pointless. Can we stop? I just want to play a game at this point. And there's a lot of people who will try to say that. And almost always, if they're not the person who had a point to start out with, and now it doesn't even make sense anymore, it's probably going to be the person who's trying to insult you the most. And it is funny when it gets to that point. Because it's like, they thought it was so, they were so serious about it, and they so thought they had a reason. And after a while, it just started being funny for the wrong reasons. And it happens a lot when you happen to play game modes like Conquest, and Arena, and Dom. Sometimes it doesn't happen in Match of the Day, but it still does. And if you had to really judge how bad it can be, Conquest is the worst mode to play with other people. Because if they're not serious about it, and they're just one of those people who are just going to chalk up the reason why they're horrible at it, and just not horrible in the sense of being horrible, horrible in the sense that they just are doing it because, fuck you, that's why. It gets annoying. Because the thing is, in Smite, we have separate modes. We have 4 of them. We have Arena, we have Conquest, we have Dom, and we have this thing called Match of the Day. And we also have another game mode of Conquest, but it's the competitive, quote-unquote, game mode. And the thing about Conquest, both casual and competitive, is that the only way to play competitive is to have a certain number of gods. You have to have about 12. The game gives you, for free, about 5 of them. And those 5 are decent. But you have to buy the rest of the gods with the in-game points called favor. And you earn favor little by little every game. by both winning or just basically just playing. Winning nets you more, that's because on your first win of the day for Smite, you get a bonus 100 favor for every game type, both in competitive and in non-competitive. Because it's, well, actually we have several game modes. We have an extra one that's called Joust, but nobody really plays Joust because that's almost like Call of Duty too much. But that's 500 for the normal competitive casual modes, and for the serious competitive mode, it's an extra 100. So that's 600 favor, plus or minus whatever you get. And in Smite, you're not rewarded for how many accolades you earn, but you're rewarded for how long you play. And it's at that point, whenever you play with people, it's basically a test of tolerance. How long can you stand somebody, or even yourself, before eventually you're just annoyed? And a lot of people hit their breaking point too quickly, almost. They get to the point where they're just, they want to start a fight with everyone and everything. Just cuss. Just for the sake of it, really. And once you really get to that point, you might as well just stop playing. I know I've done it when I first started, and even now, I still feel like it. And I try to find that balance where I'm like, okay, I can let them say what they want to because they have a right to. I can't just, you know, dog them out for everything. And at the same time, there's that point where it's like, you don't even have anything to say anymore. Why are you even here? Why? And it's good, it's bad. You learn to live with it, day in and day out. But it's still there, and you can't really get away. You can't get away from it. If you try to, it's just going to keep following you around. And that's a real bad thing too about Smite's community, is that the same person who you just had an argument with, or you were playing against in one match, can end up being on your team in another. And if you already had an argument with that guy, they're probably going to start an argument with you again, and it's going to be horrible and painful and annoying, because they're just going to keep bringing up old stuff that shouldn't even matter anymore, and they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep doing it. And that can actually throw off a game, especially if you happen to be trying to get that first win of the game, or if you're a beginner and you really didn't know what was going on, so you were just talking for the sake of talking. Because that happens a lot. You can't really get away from it. That's almost everything I have to say about the community of Smite in general. At the end of the day, it really just comes down to whether you enjoyed it and had fun or not. Which is what everybody wants. Everybody wants to have fun. Nobody wants to be a sourpuss all the time. You can't help it being a sourpuss if that's how you are. But you gotta find that balance for what you want to do. Whether or not it's fun for you, or if you just want to have fun pissing somebody off to the point that they get frustrated. If that's your thing, then that's your thing. If it's not your thing, then Smite's probably not for you. Now, we're getting close to the end of this game, where we finally salvaged it and got ourselves in a winning position. And for any person who wants to study this Wukong build that I have here, it's gonna bring up the build screen at the end of the game when I hit the chat room. And you're probably gonna see there an argument of something I was talking about earlier, where Zeus is gonna try and claim something, and I'm gonna question him about it. And it's just one of those examples of how people can be. But that's all the time I have for today's commentary. Go ahead and, if you feel like there's something you want to add on with something I said here, feel free to leave a comment below and let me know how you feel. And everybody else can comment it too, and you can figure out whether or not this is, you know, that's how you want to play Smite, that's how you feel about Smite. And if you're a new guy, I only hope I can encourage you to start playing this game. And if you do play it, I can suggest that you bring the toughest skin you have, because you're gonna need it. As always, my name's Ran, and I'm out. Deuces!